So here are the utensils that we're going to be using. First of all, you need some butter, and you want it to be unsalted and of course organic. And you'll need a pan or a pot, and this is a green pan. That's a certain brand if you know about it. I'm going to be using a spoon, and afterwards you're going to put it either into some kind of a jar or a plastic container. These ones happen to not have BPA in them, which is great, but traditionally people just use like a glass jar. So I'm just going to be doing 2 sticks, and really I only ever do 1 stick at a time, but I'm actually going to be making some for a friend of mine. And there's a very special blessing that comes into your home from making ghee, and that's why I chose to do it on such an auspicious day, being that, you know, it's the solstice and the full moon and the, what was the other thing that happened? The eclipse. It's just like a very auspicious time, and it does bring blessings to your home. So you have to be careful, kind of, well, I don't want to use the word careful, but there are lots of blessings that people actually say over their butter when they're making ghee. And you can also make it an herbal ghee too as well. You can roast seeds like fennel or fenugreek, or you can make cardamom. You can put different kinds of herbs in it, and you would roast those first. And I'm just going to be making a very simple one. In America and in French cooking, like in French cooking they call it clarified butter. In American cooking, you know, when we have drawn butter that we use for lobster, that's pretty much the same thing. And what it is you're boiling away the water and removing some of the solids. Now, I do know that there are people who actually strain it, and I didn't learn to do it that way, so I never have. But you can use a cheesecloth. And yet, like I say, I've never done it that way, so it's never been really an issue. And when I do it this way, just taking the skimming off the top. The only thing is, you know, while you do this, you just don't want to burn your butter. You don't want to get it too high. You want to be able to be boiling away the water, taking out the solids, just skimming, 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 and you want to keep the flavor. You want to get it so that it's a clear liquid, and that's pretty much what you're doing by skimming the stuff off the top. So I'm just going to be breaking these pieces up to make it melt faster, and then I'll start to skim the top off of it. And what you'll begin to see is, you see those solids that are in the spoon, that's what I'm going to be taking away. So at this point, I'm just using the heat of the warmed butter to sort of melt the rest of them. That's why I'm stirring it around. And you see how there's this like white foam here? This is the kind of thing that I'm going to be drawing away and taking out. That's going to make it the ghee, the clear liquid. So this little white foam, I'm just going to start to skim it away. Kind of similarly to if when you make a gravy, that you'll skim away the top fat portion. And it's starting to boil, and I'm really going to start to take down the heat because you don't want it to totally, it'll start to get brown, it'll start to burn. So when it gets this hot, then I know, you see how it's separating and the white comes to the top? That's what I'm taking away. That's how it becomes clarified. That's it. So you can see that at this point I've got most of the solids removed, and it's just got this nice clear color to it, and it's just starting to get a little bit toasty. And if I were to let the heat get any higher, it definitely would burn. So I've turned down the heat, and like I said before, the butter that's melted will actually continue to cook or heat or what have you any of the other butter. So it kind of works unto itself that way, and it'll get the job done. I'm left with a few solids floating up here at the top. and then some that are at the bottom. And I'll just keep working those away from the clear rest of it. And that's what you're working towards. And that is, of course, why people, like I say, strain it. Even though I don't know if I'm making more work for myself or if I just, I don't know, doing it traditionally, and that's the way I'm accustomed to do it. So, but I have known people who traditionally actually did use a strainer. So, like I say, I don't know if my way is right. It's just the way that I'm accustomed to doing it. And when I was a little girl, I had neighbors who were from India. I used to go over to her house to eat a lot. And I used to watch her do these things, but I didn't really realize what I was watching until many, many, many years later. And I would go and I would read books about it, and then I understood. And she always had the most amazing, fragrant smells coming from her kitchen. With the combination of spices that they use, you know how they'll always have that spice box that's got 6 spices in it in these little cups. I might get mine out to show you. And she would always make the most magnificent dishes, and of course they were always vegetarian, which was wonderful. So it was a great introduction to Indian culture and food, and she was such a sweet lady. And I remember one day when I asked her about her bindi, you know, if you don't know what that is, that's the red mark they wear on their foreheads. And she was so excited. She wanted to dress me up. And she said, yeah, let me do it. She gave me a sari. She dressed me up in a sari. And she put a little red mark on my forehead. And I just thought I was such a princess. I just was having the best time with her doing that. And I don't know if she got such a kick out of it because, you know, who doesn't like to dress up a little girl, right? Or if she thought it was funny because I was, like, not Indian or something. I don't know. But a great memory of childhood. And when I learned how to wrap a sari from her, I decided that I was also going to do it on my own. So I actually, with my own money, went out and I bought a sari. And I had it for many, many years. And I didn't even think it was a weird thing that I did that. And I didn't realize that it was until far later. But there was such a mesh and meld of cultures where I grew up in Chicago that, you know, you could be from anywhere and everywhere, both all at the same time, and no one questioned it. Everyone sort of just accepted everyone, even though there were very distinct neighborhoods amongst areas that I lived in. It was still very open, and people were very welcoming to you, regardless of where you came from. So it's pretty much done here. Just have very little to skim away from both the top and the bottom, and I've really had to, like I say, turn the heat down, which does help it because of course things will settle away. And but that's what you want. You want a completely clear liquid, just like, you know, when you have like a clear chicken broth or something, and you just want to take away any foam, you want to take away any extra white solids, and yeah, so that's that. Getting towards the end. So even though, like I say, I usually don't strain it, I decided to actually do that this time just for variety and just to do something live on, on YouTube here just for fun. So I got a little strainer that fits right in there, and I'm going to strain it through some paper towel. And actually, whatchamacallit, I've seen people use cheesecloth, which I think is probably better. Let me go see if I can find that actually.